Hey guys, good morning. It is 8:52 a.m. and I am at 279.6. So kind of what I expected actually. I lost zero point 0.2 pounds. I'm thinking a combination of the pickles, which is an extra 500-ish milligrams of salt, plus the base calorie of an extra 100 calories that I normally wouldn't have. I think those two things combined, plus I only ran 50 minutes instead of the full hour. So, like, it's not amazing evidence, but it does kind of point to the idea that I should be paying attention to the salt. I like pickles, but obviously, water weight from extra salt will, in the short term affect me. But, yeah, it really kind of like signifies that I need to make sure to do the full hour. I need to make sure to do the half oil and probably just eat the carrots if I'm hungry, because the carrots I factored in as like, hey, if I'm hungry and I want something, carrots are a low calorie snack that I can have that also kind of helps get my is it B3 that I was, it's either B3 or B6 that I was like slightly low. I was at like 90% of my daily values, and the carrots kind of bumped me past that 100%. So yeah. We'll see though. I don't think necessarily it's like I need to eat the carrots. I'm gonna see how my energy levels are feeling today. I woke up and feel okay, but I'm kind of wondering if the D3, I'm like lacking D3. So maybe going out in the sun a little bit more today. I don't know if the sun's even out. But I guess if I just stand outside, even if it's cloudy, I'll still get some sun. But yeah, that's my initial report. I'm gonna do some stuff, and I'm not gonna eat before Reiki again. I think that worked out really well last time. So I'm just kind of thinking here. 12. It's 9. It's 9 right now. Right for like an hour. And then do my walk for an hour. Puts me at 11. And I have an hour. Maybe I just meditate for that hour. Take a shower, meditate. Okay, yeah, I think I have an idea of like what my plan is. So I guess we'll see what it ends up looking like when I make food after I get back. So, all right, thanks guys. I will talk to you then. Hey guys, it is 5:09. A lot has happened. Here is my food. I would say a lot, but nothing. Well, not nothing, but a lot, but whatever. I'm just gonna say, I ended up. So I got up. I wrote it's like 650 words or something, and I just felt like I should stop there. I'm glad I did, because I was able to get my full hour in at the gym, doing my just treadmill stuff. It was it was literally hailing and like raining, and it was not a great time to walk. So treadmill, and then afterwards I came back, took a shower, got ready, and then then I went to the Reiki session. And the hour Reiki session turned out to, I got there and started at 1:30, and I didn't leave until 4. I really appreciate it. It didn't feel like 3 or 2.5 hours, but yeah, I'm very grateful for that. Originally, I was going to apologize, but that just doesn't feel right. I need to thank her rather than apologizing. So, anyway. It was very helpful and insightful. And kind of like the underlying understanding of both love and power, and kind of the idea that being yourself, free will is incredibly important in anyone you interact with, and love is just... That's my phone. Love is just... It's not something that you can't force love. You can cultivate it and grow it, but love is something more flowy, ephemeral. You gotta let it just kind of naturally show up. You can't kind of artificially construct it. Like, technically you can, but it doesn't really... In the end, it doesn't help people when that happens. So, yeah. And listening to my gut, I felt a lot of energy. Like, pretty much... Oh, man. There was definitely heat and energy that I felt, in the head and the feet specifically are really... It was actually crazy. I felt like there was a hand that was still radiating a heat energy or whatever, even after she just walked away to prepare for me to kind of get back up. And it was just still there. It was very striking. I seriously was like, does she have a third hand? What's going on here? It was crazy. But yeah, I'm not really... I need a lot of time to digest kind of what I've learned and understood. 'Cause there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. It's like layers. So... But yeah, the main kind of takeaways, crystallizing it, is power is something that is... You can easily be corrupted into making poor decisions with power. But the power by itself is not the thing that corrupts. It's the temptation while holding on to the power. That is what that is exactly what corrupts. It's not the power itself. The power is just a tool to help or harm. You know, you see people who use power in order to help, you know, millions and millions of people. And then there's also people who do the exact opposite. You know, the Epstein files is a great example of this, where it's like, when you have power and you kind of let yourself become corrupted, well, the darkest parts of yourself come out as, you know, things in the Epstein files. That's a prime example of, like, yeah, you let the corruption spread, and that's what you get. And it's just to remember that when you don't have power, you can understand how important it is to have a sense of checking in on the people who do have power. And I think that's also important for yourself, where if you find yourself in a position of power, aside from the external checks, you need to also be making internal checks constantly. The more power you have, the more checks you need to be making. Because we can do things and have blind spots, either intentional or unintentional, that keep us down a specific path. And that path may not be good for other people. And when you have a certain level of power, well, there's no one else to really check and balance you. So you have to be your own arbiter. You have to make sure that you're not abusing your power and you're helping others, distributing instead of collecting, right? So it's the idea that, like, you know, if you have $1 billion, you should be using it to help other people, not hoarding it, right? Just seeing the number go up is not, like, that doesn't help people. So there is definitely a threshold of, I have way beyond my means. Now I need to be using that extra beyond my means in order to make the world a better place, right? And it doesn't have to just be a money thing. That's just one facet of power. There's a lot of other, like, things, you know, being a coworker that's had, I've been here for three more years than you. I have seniority. Well, you have seniority, great. That gives you a level of power. But also, you need to equally have an extra level of responsibility for that power. Where it's like, now, not only do you know a lot and you're there to help people and you're the one that answers questions, you need to make sure that, like, you're using that power appropriately, right? So, and then when it comes to love, unconditional love and just love in general, they all come from, it's an ephemeral place, but more than that, it comes in different forms. You can, as an example, you can love someone even if they're doing something that you're like, man, like, I really want to help them, but at the same time, you got to allow people to have their free will, right? So you can't just say, I love you and I know what's best for you, so you should do the thing, right? Instead, you should be open to being, sometimes we think we know better. And sometimes we're just wrong because we let our ego kind of dictate things. And it's okay to be like, you know what? I was wrong in something I did. And, I care about, I love you guys. So it's like owning up to it. Especially if there's like power and influence at play as well. Where it's like, yeah, you have a big responsibility. You're going to make mistakes, and you need to own up to your mistakes and not let your ego dictate, well, I don't make mistakes now. It's like, no, people always make mistakes. So, and allowing people to have free will to do things that you may think or you may see as like clearly the wrong thing. Because you know what? Maybe it was the right thing for them. Because on their journey, they had to experience something that is maybe hard for you to see. So, I'm just going to leave it at that. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in, I don't know, I guess a couple hours. All right. Bye. Hello, it is 8:21. I got my there we go. Cereal with the grapes. Grapes are holding up surprisingly well. Chickpeas. Yummy. I actually I spent like 40 minutes listening to the I got the audio recording from the coach's session on Wednesday. So I went and reviewed it, wrote notes, paused, kind of thought about it, and yeah, I came to the conclusion it really is. I can see in real time her kind of scrambling to like find an area that I need work on for her to kind of help me, because I think she's desperately like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be helping you with. And I think that's definitely partially my fault, because it's like, yeah, I was just confused on what integration she was referring to versus like what even is it, and it was a whole thing. So, but seeing kind of like I would say something and then afterwards she'd be like, okay, that's good, but, and then kind of pivot to something else. Like there was a moment where she kind of went through a few different things. Like it was like, okay, well, is it what's it called? Sorry, I like blanked out for a second. So basically she pivoted where she kind of, I went through a little kind of bit of my history. I'm like, okay, well, this happened when I was a kid. This happened when I was a kid. This happened when I was like a teenager. This happened when I was an adult. This other thing happened. And as I kind of explained it and talked about how I worked on it and gave examples, it was like she wasn't upset, but it very much like I could tell that the thing she thought we were going to be working on, she was like, oh, we're not going to be working on at least those things, because he clearly has done a lot of the work. And she kept mentioning this idea of like shadow work is basically goes off into infinity, where like you keep leveling up, you keep like going back and doing the shadow work, and like I almost think of it as like picking at the scab. Like you've healed yourself, you've disinfected the wound, you've cleaned it. It's totally fine. It's healing on its own. I say healing on its own, but like it's like at that point where the scab is basically going to come off on its own, and it's going to reveal like, you know, maybe scar tissue, maybe not, who knows. But you've really done as much work as you can realistically do with it without like literally cutting it open again and like, oh, maybe I missed something the first time, right? So that's the feeling I'm getting, where it's like she makes it sound like you're supposed to like look at it, see the scar, kind of see if there's anything else you can like work on it, and you keep checking in on the thing over and over and over again as you kind of go up the spiral. And I just disagree, because if you've truly done the shadow work for a specific thing, then that specific thing is like fine. It's done. Not saying you don't have more shadow work to do, but it's going to be different, right? An example, if you had an abusive parent as a kid, and then you kind of worked through that trauma and kind of understood like, okay, like what was my parents' perspective at the time? What, like, obviously it's not okay for that to happen. I'm okay, I'm safe. You know, going through these like different aspects of like empathy, forgiveness, acceptance, safety, being secure, like the list goes on. But as you do more shadow work, you kind of just it's not so much that you're going over the same wound again. It's more like the deeper your perspective goes, the more that you have like you can see it from different angles that you previously couldn't see it at. Maybe that's what she's referring to, but I don't think it changes whether you healed the thing or not, right? I don't know. Like, I understand there's definitely something to be warranted there, but I think when you get trapped in this kind of loop where it's like, oh, I gotta always do more and more shadow work on the same thing or the same couple of things and like check in on them, and oh, did I really solve that? And then you start digging it back up again. It's not that you can't like be better or like do something that will be helpful, but it's kind of like an example I would use would be you have a car, got into an accident, right? And the car needs to be repaired. Let's say the front whole bumper needs to be replaced, and you need to replace like 2 panels and then like the hood, and maybe there's some internal stuff that needs to be done too, right? So you sit down and you repair the outer body, you repair the inner work that needs to be done. Maybe there's still some like minor issues where it's like, oh, well, there's a slight disalignment of the car, and there's a few scratches and things that I could like fix and buff out, right? But the car works. It's fine. And maybe down the road there's another like separate accident that happens. Because this is life. You'll like quote unquote get into accidents, right? And I'm not saying that it's like, I'm not saying that every incident is an accident, but it's more like you will accrue damage on your car over time. Like an example, you park your car under a tree and the tree sap goes on the car and you don't notice it, and then the tree sap like ruins the paint somehow or leaves some marks, or you have birds that poop on the car and then the bird poop like fucks up the paint somehow, or someone dings your car door. You know, these things happen over time. And the thing that I'm kind of looking at is, instead of worrying about having a perfect job done shadow work wise on every single scratch that you had from that first accident, if you're like, well, the door got dinged and I need to pop out the door panel again and like hammer it out, well, that's going to take precedent over going back and buffing out a scratch, right? So I think it's important for priorities to kind of be in place and to know when enough's enough on the shadow work for a specific thing. And obviously you can always go back and relook at it later with new understanding, new perspectives. That's fine. But there's just some times when, like, we'll use the healing again. It's like you cut yourself, like maybe you fell and you scraped your knee. You did the disinfectant thing, you got it scabbed over, it left a scar, and then over time the scar's gotten lighter and thinner, and now it's like barely noticeable. I mean, at that point, you don't need to go and fucking break open the wound and try and like look for something. It's like, enough is enough. You do not need to continue that down that path. So I think that's what's rubbing me a lot, is like she's trapped in a loop of like infinity shadow work. And infinity shadow work is like helpful in some ways, and in other ways you'll be there forever. You'll just keep running. And like another really kind of important thing that really bothered me was this idea that this growth, so this channel as an example, all of these vlogs are supposed to be this like crying mess that's like human grit and determination and struggle and all of this stuff. Why? Why does it have to be that way? Because so far, I've been loving everything I've been doing. It's been like, there's like a high order of alignment and love associated with everything I'm doing. So she kind of mentioned that in order to kind of, she didn't directly say this, but she heavily implied that in order to be inspiring, you need to literally be like incredibly raw and like emotionally charged and like failing a bunch and like rough struggles and all of that. I'm like, no, I don't agree. That maybe that's your journey and that's okay, but that's not mine. The past, when it's been like that, that's been no-goes for me. The times when it's like a big struggle to get something done, those are the times I quit. Not because I didn't have the will or the determination or the whatever, but because it just wasn't right. For me, at least. And with this, it's all natural. And that's, she kind of kept mentioning that 3 weeks isn't enough to know. It's like, well, you've only been doing it for 3 weeks, so who are you, effectively? Like, you know, great, you've been like, whoop-de-doo, do you want a candle and some cake for doing 3 weeks? That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. Almost like a superiority thing, where it's like, well, I've been doing it for 5 or 6 years. Now, just to be clear, she did not say this, right? I'm not saying she said this at all. But this is how it felt. Like, it felt like her belittling the 3 weeks was almost as if she was pulling rank, saying, well, I've done it for X years, 5, 10, however long it's been, right? And you don't have any right to say that you're fine and you're doing your stuff because you're still a child in this journey of bettering yourself. And yeah, it really bothers me because it's like, you don't know how I'm feeling. Like, I understand, to every outside perspective, everyone, even my roommates, feel the same way, where it's like, here we go, it's just another like Tom thing where he's good for a couple weeks and then suddenly he's not, and then we're like, okay, well, you didn't do anything. And it's like, I can't describe to anyone what it's like to go from, like, it literally feels like, it feels like a surgery has taken place, and the parts that weren't fitting and weren't working in the past have just been removed, completely removed, and all that's left is healthy tissue. And I'm not saying that I don't have shadow work to do. There's always shadow work to do, right? I can always dig deeper. That's fine. But this kind of journey, it is a part of me. It's not an external thing that I'm trying. It's like, I'm not trying to change. I have changed. And so because I have changed internally, my external is showing those changes. That's why I've been consistent on filming this every single day. It's my new life. It's not even a question of, I don't feel like doing this. It's like, no, this is just part of me right now. Same with the food. The food no longer is like an external thing. It's just a part of like the ego that exists now, right? And that can change, obviously. That will change. For now, that's just how it is. So, same thing with the book. The book was a little slower on the uptake, but I think for the book, it was me not recognizing that was a part of the core until recently. That's why, like, I would have last week, like, I would have not done writing on the weekend. But I'm like, well, I don't just suddenly decide not to drink water because it's the weekend, right? Like, you drink water every day. This is another one of those things. I'll write every day. Could be only 300 words. Sometimes it'll be really, really low word count. But I write every day because that is a part of the current ego that's been built for the new me. So it's like there's the me, and then there's the ego that's been built around the new me to navigate the world. And that ego is confident, consistent, dedicated, and is doing everything it can to be authentic. And if people don't like that, or people belittle the authenticity, or whatever, doesn't matter. I'm me, take it or leave it. So, and in all my quirks. So, yeah, I think it's a big moment for me where it's affirming that I'm doing the right thing. I've always known that I've been doing the right thing with this journey. So I just got to keep doing the right thing. Keep learning, keep growing, keep understanding, keep being consistent. Which, speaking of consistency, the scheduled stuff has run out, so I need to set up today's post. Usually, I was doing posts in the morning just as an experiment. Hasn't really changed anything, which is fine. So yeah, but it's already compiled. All I really need to do is just make a cover photo, or a, what's it called? A thumbnail. There we go. I just need to make a thumbnail and then it'll be uploaded. So it'll take like 5 minutes. No, I'm not sure. Maybe Sunday I will. Maybe it'll be a Sunday thing. I kind of like it being a Monday thing, so it's probably just going to be a Monday thing. So I guess I'll just have to do the Sunday one. Yeah, but okay. I'm gonna let everyone go. Appreciate everyone for listening again, and I'll see you tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to, like, every day is just exciting for me. I don't know. There's like I don't know what's gonna happen, but I kind of do. It's like I understand the structure, but who the fuck knows what my intuition is gonna tell me? So it's exciting. Anyway, okay. Good night.